ladies and gentlemen of the media, the OSP declares Kenneth Ofori-Atta a wanted person.
Please, let's not do that. 2 minutes
it means that what didn't work Kangura. What didn't work Kangura. Or to put it simply, Wajibam. Or in the Hausa language, Otelo. Or to put it the more simpler way, Yagudu. It's as simple as that, Mr. Speaker. The same Kenneth Ofori-Atta made your family members have free school.
They made me can't check Kenneth Ofori-Atta and say 20 and it or one ethical.
Finally, my family is free because of Rome Villa Estate. Yes, this estate is responsible for selling affordable litigation-free lands that have electricity, water, and accessible roads. I am so happy.
Procurement of contractors and materials and activities and payments in respect of the National Cathedral project. Activities and payments in respect of a contract awarded by the Ministry of Health, initially commenced by the Ministry for Special Development Initiatives to Service Ghana Auto Group Limited for purchases and after-sales service and maintenance of 307 Mercedes-Benz Sprinter 305 CDI ambulances for the National Ambulance Service. Termination of a distribution, loss reduction and associated network improvement project contract between the Electricity Company of Ghana Limited and Beijing Xiaochen Technology BXC. Contractual arrangements between Strategic Mobilization Ghana Limited and the Ghana Revenue Authority for the stated objective of the enhancement of revenue assurance in the downstream petroleum sector, upstream petroleum production, and minerals and metals resources value chain. Payments out of and utilization of the tax refund account of Ghana Revenue Authority. Mr. Ofori-Atta's lawyers wanted to know, and they stated that they were informed by the household of Mr. Ofori-Atta that in the morning of Tuesday, 11 February 2025, that is yesterday, 12 men comprising 1 police officer, 4 military men, and 7 other men in plain clothing visited Mr. Ofori-Atta's house, and that by threat of force, they were able to enter Mr. Ofori-Atta's house, and they undertook an exercise purporting to be a search of every room, office, gym, and other spaces in the house. Mr. Ofori-Atta's lawyers then inquired if the OSP could confirm that the actions of the 12 men were the instance of the OSP so as to enable them to decide if a complaint to the police would be unnecessary. Mr. Ofori-Atta's lawyers then prayed for a prompt response from the OSP to prevent imposter action. We are now responding promptly, and we have chosen the course of answering Mr. Ofori-Atta's inquiry publicly at this briefing, considering the circumstances surrounding the purported raid at Mr. Ofori-Atta's house, media reportage of the purported raid, and in light of the reckoning that some media houses have stated emphatically that the OSP was behind the purported raid, and in light of the reckoning that the purported raid is being made to appear as if it was some untoward action by the OSP stemming from some contrived vendetta held by the OSP against Mr. Ofori-Atta. So, here we go. And this is our response to Mr. Ofori-Atta directly, but through you, the media. Mr. Ofori-Atta, the OSP did not raid your house on Tuesday, 11 February 2025, or on any other day. Mr. Ofori-Atta, the OSP did not cause any persons, however uniformed or bedecked, to raid your house on Tuesday, 11 February 2025, or on any other day. Mr. Ofori-Atta, that could not have been the OSP, and that is not our style. If the OSP enters your premises, you will not be in doubt as to whether it was the OSP that had come there, and your lawyers will not have cause to do an inquiry ascertaining whether it was the OSP. We have our unique methods of conducting searches, and we have uniquely designed insignia identifying ourselves, and not just by a statement that we are from the OSP. This is one such main insignia. A person cannot just show up and say they are from the OSP. It's cheap, anyone can say that. But when the OSP enters your premises, you will definitely know by our insignia, our methods, and the way we identify ourselves that this is the OSP. Our intelligence points us to state that the purported raid on Mr. Ofori-Atta's residence was staged, or at best, an imposter action in an attempt to court disfavor for the OSP and to derail the investigation. You know us very well. The OSP is never deterred by such occurrences, and the investigations will continue as by law prescribed. These occurrences and the OSP's intelligence, which will not be revealed at this time for fear of compromising the investigation, are very instructive as not to put premium on Mr. Ofori-Atta's alleged imminent peril should he travel back to the jurisdiction. In any case, the purported medical letter transmitted through his lawyers to the OSP did not state so or demonstrate so. The OSP is unconvinced that the purported medical letter transmitted by Mr. Ofori-Atta through his lawyers to the OSP represents a medical report to the effect that Mr. Ofori-Atta is incapacitated or is so sickly and invalid to the extent that he is physically unable to return to the jurisdiction without imperiling his life. No serious law enforcement agency, and certainly not the OSP, will be convinced that the purported medical letter stops it from demanding the physical appearance of Mr. Ofori-Atta before it in the described circumstances. We are of the firm conviction here that this is only a ruse employed by Mr. Ofori-Atta in aid of his intention to avoid returning to the jurisdiction and to personally answer questions in respect of the investigations. We are convinced that the real intention of Mr. Ofori-Atta is what was communicated to the OSP in the very first letter transmitted by his lawyers on 31 January 2025. That is, he has left the jurisdiction indefinitely. That was what was communicated to us at the first instance, and that is his intention. He has no intention of willingly returning to the jurisdiction. That much is clear to us. Consequently, ladies and gentlemen of the media, the OSP declares Kenneth Ofori-Atta a wanted person. He is a fugitive from justice. The OSP will take all necessary legal steps to secure his return to the jurisdiction and attendance at the OSP. And this is to Mr. Ofori-Atta. You have two choices. You can either return to the jurisdiction voluntarily, or the OSP will enforce your return.
Now, test. Why should
to confirm?
Why should we talk like that?
Adain.
Why?
Adain.
Now, OSP no nyare ana. Investigation was asemna eye chono eye kontumpa na.
It's one question we can.
But until that thing is done, no. Why? Me doctor actually me chira kwan. What show dia me beye?
Yes.
Sebi di enkwa. The power that you have, say throne no dia, you can pull him from everywhere in the country, in the world. So why? Now we've gotten to the point that if people pay what he has said, OSP listen 2 minute brew bibia so ntino bi kra yare kra na. Chinchiri china ya fancy hwiche mu ana ya fancy be fancy to pass fancy brana. Or contrary, are big to what the doctor has said that. On can say. So we know that Kenneth Agyapong is deceiving the public. No,
because I will share letter we in so law firm not the medical report we in letter and command on the 7th. And 12 and then no press conference. Meaning say from 7th now in Saka letters you know. I don't say be no so behind the scene
but you cannot also come and give us half information. Hey, now the club is fugitive obi. Yeah, them come law school be there. Oye nipa, yeah, no. Oye nipa bonfo. Yes.
Wajani akwatete.
Now only lawyer for din komo. A lawyer for that me akwa kire o baby nipa na oyare no se owo.
Oda.
Na na momia sa se adwini butai bi wachiri sei. Ebetima to me. Until we prove. Secretary na doctor na trodia ba no. Eye kontompo.
Yes.
Until we prove that there Kenneth Agyapong otiapo yie.
And on person beba.
Na dey 2 million mama who say OSP.
No 2 million.
Maybe onyanyame. Please let's not do that. 2 million kwaro wo no e se obi ase.
Oh sure.
Please. Adani eye inside no. One country. Now lawyer tro who be wajina my name e de me krata koma OSP. Me yare. O press conference so ntima kan kire say sa yare na me ya no me boa e nkontompo. Wako check your hospital, the doctor and credit come why do you do that? Yes, it's something good pray now the person will be saying. People say, are there personal vendetta? That's what is coming across now. Match na edaben. Match na edaben.
Because our lawyers the communication almost say obetimi a fixed date be in March. Because March now we share hospital we no maka say
obi me san your man mama me so so everyone ye ninka so we will all retire and go home. Apart from Nyami judgment, we will all retire and go home. And the truth is commercialized in this country. And no man said so. Who said that the OSP cannot invite anybody or suspect to say Nanamon Tobi the Cabo Abre or Mino and Ejumekobi? Who said nobody can do that? But this is a clear point to say. My lawyer for me my name. Whether you disagree with the lawyers or not, Moko Kotamun to mention German. And maybe baby Jack can say, Yam PDB because more German who the Moga German.
Maybe OSP in so suspected foul play.
But your suspect. No. You cannot suspect. You cannot be emotional. You can just face the reality. The reality is that, is the man sick? Have you checked that the doctors in court are because you have the power to do everything you want to do in terms of investigation.
Maybe he's done that.
So why didn't you tell us?
In any press?
Of course. Because you read all meanings into it. If indeed you have checked, and it is true, that Sa Yuraken Ofori-Atta on Yaribia. And another matter on Ghana. Now, Branya Musu Assembly do Ujana Koshari. Any another matter, it's like a good case. But we have to be fair in applying the law.
Yeah.
Nina Foba, the Krataba, Udauto Kratana, Uma Hubre, Uncle Fosi, Akobo, said Nina, who could be any mamma who said your baby was a Jumana as a special prosecutor. You know what time is it?
Yeah. I take two takeouts for me. Number one, let her now lawyers Troy say Papa will be out of the country indefinitely. We need to see that.
But where is that letter?
Me hui.
We have not seen any letter to the effect that Kenneth Agyapong says that he will be out of the country indefinitely.
Yes.
What is our problem then?
Indeed, the only letter I have cited, the one the lawyers Minka Premomo Etro Command hospital report.
So let's push the OSP.
Yeah.
Come again.
Two things. The letter that says he will be out indefinitely, and number two, OSP in Saka letter away from lawyers and medical reports. What was done to ascertain whether say Papa no oyare and I say onyare. Say onyare and obeka say Ghana for you say oyare. A different conversation altogether. And I think the OSP could have helped here in say yen Saka letter away from the lawyers, no. Yes, ye che ko yen hwem yen say Papa no onyare no ka che yen say oyare. But to declare him wanted and a fugitive when that information in my say in Tron na o channel dear. It's a bit.
That is worrying.
It's a bit.
Mr. Wesana, then Krabi. You know why? Charles Bisu and we are wanted. Why? Do we get power to intimidate and just frustrate people? And say they are kokoso child or mubu ama for the good ana.
Daben.
Oh, yeah, Daben. What they also require? They are 7,000. The past and the present.
Chado.
It's still going on. And so see bebre, nipa bebre, see the pasa. I don't know yeah, want to say yeah, enemies. 16 regions, we are one. Why? Nima copy one zima, what copy whatever.
Equiapem.
I don't hear Baku. Baku Yansun say, Sinto, and Ambreo will be Jumedia Udinma, yet to be corrected, yet to be Chinaso. No, it can't be possible. We should desist from men with evil heart and evil intent. We should desist from that. People with selfish and greedy intent. We should get away. Naive people and ignorant people, get away. You should build a society that is based on love, truthfulness, probity, and accountability, and know that no condition is permanent. And I said, go for them, so new be an amebua. Send the power for Naba. Say agriculture is new be amebua. Send the power for Naba. Say president to new, send the power for Naba. On met from Kopim Zomiwana. The Uye Biano. Zasukruano. You're careful.
But knowing the OSP, no, before he holds a press conference, now on crossy T's and dotty eyes.
Obina OSP now okay. The OSP no a successful law person while in the career and the production program. But so in Nipa.
Oh, in Nipa.
But Obina was somewhere come see and candy with you. So we have fought trouble OSP. I make a old dawa tears so home mate. No, I say to Oyarem Paso say, ye declare say, oh, no, Jania Frigana because of Chrono. Can you imagine? That woman, you're careful. Mama, you're careful. Because so Diana Hamilton, in as intimidated that. Yemo, sir, I give a Dominic. I come to the woman here for.
Why comes from more port? And
Omuni
port. Ghana link.
I've heard of
make icons as a way na port like port no.
Yeah, me
technology we use to
me brother agent to.
Okay.
Na osi omo introduce a lot of things be on my Amasika no. Ghana Sika no. I think they serve as a check. I don't know much about it, but they serve as a check. So I'm not surprised that Omoka ICOMS makes trade facilitation seamless. GRE. I'm not surprised. Iti yen cut it out. That nipa in that interface in free, you know, and sometimes as I see a how they are also paying their quota to ensure Ghana moves to the next level in terms of revenue generation. So what I say, it cannot be the owners alone. So what I say, a good job done. So what I say, it made the chair if Nyoma OSP no say. Akosu nyina no on MPA papa na no kane no
sikani mu edu
yewura kan Ofori-Atta nyoma akosu nyina no afa na obi wadaroma won so aben wo sa abeanim no e ma ye entity ani adesua Ifiada
because in relation with
Ifiada
releases on National Cathedral
and I'm saying that Ifiada nyame ye adoma Sanko Nebidi. They made me can't check and for that time say 20.
And or one ethical.
Mr. Speaker, let me thank you for this opportunity. Mr. Speaker, let me start with a Ghana Web report. And it is dated, Mr. Speaker, 2017, Friday, 28th July 2017. AK-47 wielding corpse raid John Jinapo's home. Mr. Speaker, 5 police officers believed to be from the National Security on Friday raided the home of former Deputy Power Minister, Mr. John Jinapo, in search of documents related to the controversial $550 Ameri deal. Mr. Speaker, this very house, this very house, approved the Ameri deal.
What is it?
Speaker, I thank you. Earlier on I had tried to. I think it's important we set the parameters right. Let it go into the records that nobody's afraid of this subject matter. And the leader says that he's cautioning. Nobody's afraid. Nobody has anything to hide. Now, the point I want to make is that, Speaker, yes, when we are debating, we make reference to other sources of information. Let it be put on record that any matter that anybody wants to reference, it should be tabled. It should be tabled. Speaker, if our colleague has some source of information, let that information be tabled before you can proceed on same subject matter. You can just get up and say that Ghana Web. Table it. Let him table it. No, he should table it. Anybody gets up and say Ghana Web, he should table it. Speaker, I insist. Let him table it. Then you can take his source serious.
Honorable John Jinapo.
Mr. Speaker,
you've already spent 1 minute.
Mr. Speaker, that's most unfair. I mean, you can't do this to me, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, you are a leader, and you should know that when something is public record, especially in this house, we do not tender any evidence. Professor Mike Okwe, then Speaker, made a ruling on the matter in this chamber. You were seated here. Professor Mike Okwe wrote to the CID in respect of this matter. And so what other evidence do you want me to tender when it's captured in the Hansard? Anything captured in the Hansard, you don't tender any evidence. Mr. Speaker, I am saying that on that fateful day, Mr. Speaker, on that fateful day, when my house was raided by AK-47 wielding national security operatives, when they banged on my door, creating fear and panic, sending my 6-year-old child into a state of hysteria, into a state of fear. We had members here. They never commented on it. And I commend Professor Michael Kwe on that day when he stood up and ruled that what they were doing was wrong. Mr. Speaker, they took my phone, They took my laptops and took it to the United Kingdom to investigate me. Today, a very simple matter. You are scared of it. Mr. Speaker, let me explain something. The OSP has declared Mr. Kenneth Ofori-Atta as a fugitive. As a fugitive. Mr. Speaker, in our local language, fugitive, in our local language, it means that wadenuwa kangura. Wadenuwa kangura. Or, to put it simply, wajibam. 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 Or in the Hausa language, otilo. Otilo. Or to put it in a more simpler way, ya gudu. It's as simple as that, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, we should not be afraid of accountability. As public officials, when they took my laptop, it got to a point they couldn't even open the iPhone. I told them I was willing to come and use my fingerprint. It was then and there that they told me that the phones had been taken to the United Kingdom. I had to give them the password. Eventually, the very America that I was accused of, a minister was dismissed because it came here padded by almost $800 million. Mr. Speaker, on this auspicious day, on this day of reckoning, on this day of accountability, the only thing I can say is that we wish the man in white,
5 minutes.
the best of luck.
Is up.
But Mr. Speaker,
5 minutes is up.
The finance minister should come here and settle the scores as well as
5 minutes is up.
Thank you very much, Right Honorable Speaker.
Yes. Honorable member for Bimbila, you have 5 minutes.
Mr. Speaker, thank you very much for the opportunity. Mr. Speaker, we are building a democracy. The honorable member who just spoke said gun-wielding policemen raided his home. That is what a democracy is. Police people. My brother, you don't use soldiers to raid somebody's home in a democracy. Yes. Sit down. I will wait.
Honorable members, I am not giving the floor to anybody on point of order. Please.
Mr. Speaker.
Please, let's tolerate each other. Please.
Mr.
Yes.
Speaker. Mr. Speaker, let them be informed. Let them who stand up be informed that by 4 a.m. on the 7th of this, January, there was no defense minister in Ghana. Let them be informed. Let them be informed. Let them be informed that nobody in Ghana, let them be informed that the gentleman, tell the gentleman here that he's just been nominated Deputy Minister of the Republic of Ghana. You are no more in a position to be shouting. Respect yourself. You are in government today. Mr. Speaker, let them know that by 4 a.m., when soldiers and police entered here to keep order, there was no Minister of Defense in Ghana. Be educated yourselves. Mr. Speaker, I still want to repeat. Let me repeat to my colleague. That in a democracy, you do not use soldiers to raid somebody's home. Especially when that person has told you, that I am not in the country and I'll report when I get back. Ofori-Atta wrote to the OSP that, look, I am not in the country, I've received the invitation, and I will come back and report to you for any investigation. You have no right, Mr. Speaker, you have no right to send soldiers to raid a man's house when he's not there. When he has told you that I will come, I'm out of the country. It is worse than armed robbery. In fact, to the extent that I have seen pictures of Richard Agyapong, who has just been forgiven of his sins, raiding somebody else's house. What business has that man in the house of a man who is supposed to be traveled outside? This is not the democracy we are building.
Thank you.
It is wrong for John Mahama, who just won an election, to try to use soldiers to intimidate people.
Thank you very much.
We will not agree today.
Thank you
we
very
will not
much.
agree tomorrow. We are not cowards.
Thank you. Thank you.
We will account to anybody who wants us to account.
Thank you very much. Now, yes.
Mr. Speaker, the former defense minister, in his concluding statement, mentioned one Mr. Agyapong and said that somebody who has just been forgiven of his sins. Mr. Speaker, he has never proven that the guy committed a sin. He has never proven that the man committed a sin. So you cannot say that somebody who has just been forgiven of his sins, nobody forgave him of any sin because nobody proved any sin. So, Mr. Speaker, the man is not here. He should withdraw that part of his statement. He should withdraw that part of his statement.
Yes.
Mr. Speaker, the case against Richard Agyapong, the appeal, and the current finance minister was withdrawn by the current president. The appeal was withdrawn by the current president. Allow the court to deal with the matter. Allow the court to deal with the matter. And let's see whether you have sins or you don't have sins. Allow the court to deal with the matter.
So
Mr. Speaker, allow the court to deal with the matter. And let's see whether there are sins or there are not sins.
So have you...
But if you want me to withdraw the word forgive, I'll withdraw that word. But I say to you that allow the courts to decide whether a man is guilty or not.
Thank you. Thank you very much. Now, Honorable Member for Bolgatanga, is it Central or Central? Yes.
Thank you very much, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, I am very sad that in our country, the biggest perceived enemy of our economy is being defended the way my colleagues are doing. And everybody knows. And everybody knows. No. Everybody knows. Everybody knows.
Honorable Adongo, how did you come by that?
Mr.
That
Speaker,
is the biggest.
Mr. Speaker, if that makes him happy, I withdraw.
Please just withdraw. Honorable members.
Yes, the truth.
Honorable members, please. Honorable members, please, let's be guided by our own standing orders. This comment should not generate any debate. So please, let's make a statement that will invite no other person to come and challenge your statement. Please, let's be straightforward.
Mr. Speaker, you allowed very contentious, debatable issues to be raised here. And you are now asking me to respond to debatable arguments without debate? Is that what you are saying? You admitted all that debatable documents that he presented here. But I want to say that if you are a Ghanaian and you respect yourself, Ghana has gone into debt restructuring and embarrassed globally. Who did that? Ken Ofori-Atta did that. Ghanaians who bought our bonds, went through a DDEP. Who did that? Ken Ofori-Atta. And so, if you get up to defend this person who has robbed us of our peace and happiness, and you expect me to debate this in a manner that is not debatable, I beg to differ. But Mr. Speaker, The truth is that the OSP has made it very clear that the state did not send anybody to Ken Ofori-Atta's house, and that was staged by Ken Ofori-Atta's own people.
Hold on. Yes, minority leader.
Mr. Speaker, with respect, let the records reflect that this side of the House brought this matter up, questioning the mode of the action taken by state security operatives. Mr. Speaker, Mr. Speaker, the argument being made by my colleague is to the effect that the man has committed some crimes and we are defending. Mr. Speaker, let it be known by him. Let it be known by him that as he is now in this chamber, he's aspiring into public office. He's seriously lobbying to be made a deputy minister. Mr. Speaker, he has not even been recognized. It is some of these unguarded statements. That is why he has not been recognized. Mr. Speaker, we are talking about the mode of the raid, the arrest. We are not saying that if the state has evidence against Ken Ofori-Atta, you shouldn't try him.
Well.
Mr. Speaker, if indeed there is an issue against him, the state can try him. Then he can have access to his lawyers.
Leader.
But you cannot accuse him that the man is guilty.
Leader, I'll come to you. Because you have your time so that you can address all these things, please.
Mr. Speaker, he has to withdraw that part of the submission.
Mr. Speaker, 2016, the economic Ken Ofori-Atta inherited was growing at 3.4%. Mr. Speaker, the inflationary rate was 15.4. Mr. Speaker, lending rate was about 40%. But for COVID, by 2019, we were growing 7%. Inflation was 7%. Under Ofori-Atta, we have been able to implement one of the most enviable pro-poor policies on the continent of Africa. How could you describe such a man because of global crisis? Your own former finance minister, do you know the description you are giving to your country? Do you know how you are placing Ghana on the globe because of politics? Do you know what you are doing to your country? Very soon, your ministers will be leaving Ghana for other places, for international assignments. And this is what they will read from your own lips. Mr. Speaker, we shouldn't allow this outmoded, colloquial, primitive politics to continue to destroy our country. Mr. Speaker, we are one people with one destiny as a nation. Mr. Speaker, I'm only advising the House.
Honorable Sivinamwa, did I hear you say primitive politics?
No, I'm talking about Ghana.
Will you consider withdrawing the word primitive politics?
Okay. Mr. Speaker, with your indulgence, I have done so. But Mr. Speaker, I think I have to make myself clearer here. I am not even speaking against one side. I am talking about actions and inactions, omissions and behaviors that are dwindling the very reputation of this House. We've been doing this to ourselves for far too long. Now, every Tom, Dick, and Harry out there, even if you are driving Land Cruiser, they think you're a politician. Whether NDC MPP, they don't respect us. And this is why I'm bringing it to our attention, that do we allow yesterday's propaganda or actions or omissions to continue to keep on destroying the very image and reputation of this August House? Is that what we want to do? This is the question I'm asking. Mr. Speaker, are we teaching the younger generation what we are doing today? Mr. Speaker, what does the Constitution say? Article 18, Clause 2, with your permission. A, no one shall be subjected to the interference of his private home and properties. Has that happened or not? The very Constitution that we ourselves, the very laws that we ourselves made, we are undermining the same laws because of politics
We should not sit here and because of politics forget the fact that the same kind of Ofori-Atta made your family members have free school. Your nephews, your children, your aunties, your friends, your mosque members, your church members. But for Kenneth Agyapong, they would have been home. Let us stop these things against either NDC or MPP. Let us maintain our reputations as a house. Let us believe in one fact that we are one people with a common destiny as a country. All these things we must stop. That is what I mean. Yesterday's politics we should forget because we are destroying each other. And we call ourselves honorable members. We all deserve that. But please, Mr. Speaker, what I'm trying to tell the House is that sometimes, because of politics, we say these things, we think we are joking. But those out there, they believe in what we say and they disrespect all of us. Let us protect each other. Let us keep the dignity of this House intact and portray to the people out there that, yes, we have changed. Mr. Speaker, I am ending by telling each and everyone, especially my brothers and sisters from the other side, to repent. To repent. These behaviors must be stopped. We don't do that to ourselves. Look at Honorable Agoja, very respectable, our leader, respectable. We are all respectable members. But because of politics, as you call you thief, you are this, you are that, and when you go out there, you want people to respect us. I think this should be the last time for all of us. Let us show love and constructive discussions. Constructive conflict C type, not A type.
All member conclude.
Thank you.